We got the Bitcoin ETFs with positive inflows every day. We got Trump signing an executive order for a Bitcoin reserve. And we got a whole lot of Bitcoiners in the US government right now, so what the hell is this? A thing I learned pretty early in the crypto space is that markets are unpredictable. When everyone is bullish, something terrible is going to happen. And if everyone is bearish, then it goes up or it goes down, nobody really knows. Even though I think trend analysis is modern day shamanism, I still think there are some valid reasons why Bitcoin is behaving like it does right now. So without further ado, enjoy the video, my friends. Letters and numbers. QT means quantitative tightening and M2 money supply is the circulating amount of dollars. A bit simpler, the central bank in the US is in charge of the supply of dollars and they set interest rates. Or even simpler, the Fed is allowed to print money out of thin air. During the pandemic, they tried to stabilize the markets as good as they could. That said, neither Biden nor Trump are to blame for the recent inflation. The Federal Reserve acts on its own behalf. Now, to get the money out of the system, the Fed raises interest rates in the aftermath and stopped stimulating the markets completely, and this hasn't stopped yet. So once they revert these measures to keep inflation in check, they literally start printing money again, and this has always been the signal for cryptocurrencies to explode. The most important thing for you to know is this will happen 100% certainty. Even with good news like pro-crypto policies and some regulatory wins, large players, often referred to as whales or institutional investors, might be shorting Bitcoin to liquidate over-leveraged positions in the Bitcoin market. Blah blah blah, a bit simpler. Some crypto exchanges let you leverage trade, which is like making a big bet with borrowed money. Imagine you have $1,000 and bet that Bitcoin's price will go up. With 50x leverage, the exchange pretends you're betting $50,000 by lending you the extra $49,000. If Bitcoin's price goes up a little, you could make huge profits. But if it goes down enough, you lose your $1,000 completely because the exchange takes it to pay back the loan. That's called a liquidation. Big traders with lots of money know this and sometimes trick the market. They sell a ton of Bitcoin to push the price down, wiping out people betting on a rise, then buy it back cheaper. Later, they might push the price up to trick people betting it will fall. This is risky and unfair, especially for newbies. And of course, yes, it's insanely stupid. And it's happening right now as we speak. If you don't believe me, listen to what these guys have to say.
On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says he'd fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, so unethical.
This is a quick one. We have to admit Bitcoin already had a really nice rally. We went from 20k to 100k and now the markets show some weakness and some players decided to take profits and leave it as it is. I don't think this is a big factor because the amount of people who actually hold is far greater. But it is a part of the equation. So just let's go to the next one. Despite crypto-specific good news, there is the Trump factor. Here's my take on what he might be planning, so just let me explain. Trump is throwing around tariffs like a madman. He's trying to get Greenland and Canada into the United States. He's starting a trade war with China. He goes here and there with Putin and Zelensky. Nobody really knows what is going on. And that is exactly what he wants to achieve. Uncertainty is poison for investors. If people do not invest, the economy is cooling down. And if the economy is cooling down, people lose their jobs. And if people lose their jobs, the central bank will react and start to print money again, in order to flood the markets with cheap money and to help the economy to get back on its feet. What this means for Trump is that he can refinance the $36 trillion of debt the US has accumulated over the last decades. And with lower interest rates, this is way cheaper for President Trump. Please take it with a grain of salt, this is just a theory of mine, but I think it might be really possible. But to stay on topic, uncertainty means people do not invest or sell Bitcoin, and this explains why the chart is going sideways since a few days. Bitcoin's price often undergoes sharp corrections, even during bullish periods, as historical patterns suggest. This, for example, is a correction. Even if price rises like crazy, in between we have people actually selling large amounts of Bitcoin. This is called a shakeout. This means people who get scared, so-called weak hands, sell off and thus lowering the price. Especially if the good news hasn't yet translated into widespread euphoria, prices will behave like they do just right now in Q1 2025. In the big picture, everything I just said is all speculation. But I guess this was why you came here in the first place. Might be that the bull run is over, and it also might be that it hasn't really started yet. Just buy, hold, keep it in cold storage and keep a cool head. Like, subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye.